Welcome to team training. We do this every Tuesday. We help you grow your business, also help you grow yourself professionally and personally so that you beat your internal and external competition and achieve everything that you're looking to achieve and more in this industry. Last week, we continued on our series of the four C's, and what we covered was the second C, which is communication. So after you create a contact, the second C is communication. That communication hopefully is going to create calendar appointments. Those calendar appointments will create outcomes, including new client and new partner contracts. So that's in the YouTube channel. It was in the Facebook group and emailed out to you guys. We're going to move on this week to the third C, which is calendar. This is where conversations actually become opportunities. So if you've done the work to create a contact, you effectively communicated with that contact. Now you've created interest enough for them to book a calendar appointment. That is the bridge over that will eventually become opportunities. And the better that you get at your presentations, at your discovery calls, at your online meetings, those percentages will rise. And along with those percentages, your revenue, your income, your growth, equity, everything you're looking for in this business and in this industry. So we started with contacts. Remember, if you don't have any contacts, you have absolutely nobody to talk to. Contacts are somebody that's entered into your CRM. Once they're in the CRM, you communicate with them. People enter into conversations. What are the conversations based on? Value, education, information, something to keep them reading, keep them engaging, and ultimately at the right point in time, get them to move to the third C, which is calendar. That's where people actually commit their time to discovery calls, online educational meetings, whatever it might be. The calendar is where interest becomes commitment. It's that bridge. The calendar is where opportunity actually begins. Why the calendar matters. Well, most agents believe they need better stuff. They need better products. They need better presentations. They need better scripts. Most actually just need more appointments. Think about it. If your percentage of closing is X and you have 3 meetings versus 10 meetings versus 20 meetings, you can see where the appointments are where everything comes together. So appointments solve most of your business problems. If you're not attaining the level of income and growth and revenue and equity that you're looking for, all you've got to do is find a way to create more appointments for you. Appointments are going to solve your business problems. If you have no or little to no appointments, without appointments, this is where you end up. Think about the chain of reaction here. No appointments means no opportunities. No opportunities means no clients, no partners, no growth. So everything we mapped out in the four C's can be identified to help you break down where your business needs help, identify, solve that, and then move on. If it frees up the entire flow, great. If not, maybe you have some other work to do in one of the other C's. But appointments is where all of the action that you've taken on the front side comes together to create opportunities. When we look at calendar, the calendar is the conversion point. Remember, you're doing work on the front side to create contacts. The contact is interest, right? They know you exist. It's what we call the seed of possibility. Do all seeds grow? Of course not. But what we want to know is that if we plant enough seeds, we're going to get some type of a harvest, right? So the conversation creates the curiosity. They engage the right ones, right? They ask questions. They want to know more if you do the communication correctly. The calendar appointment now is a commitment. They've taken action. They've scheduled time. They chose you to talk to. When someone schedules time, they're essentially raising their hand. They're saying, I'm willing to learn more. Guys, that changes everything. And when you start filling up your calendar with appointments, with people wanting to learn more, special things start happening in your business. No appointment, no opportunity, no growth. On the other hand, lots of appointments, lots of opportunity, lots of growth. So it works in both ways. If you're not getting the level of success you're looking for, reverse that cycle. Understand that everything that was working against you can start to work for you. So the calendar, guys, is not the goal. Most agents make a huge mistake, and make sure you take away from this training this. They think that appointments equals success. We're not quite there. Remember, the appointments are the bridge. It connects the communication to the opportunity. So the appointment itself isn't necessarily the win. It's a step in the right direction, but the opportunity created by the appointment is the win. Some will, some won't. We just keep moving the ball down the field, and through that process, we're getting new clients, new partners, we're getting referrals. Everything's growing. Rising tide kind of lifts all boats scenario. Don't celebrate the calendar. You definitely want to be celebrating the small victories, especially as you're getting your business set up, but celebrate what the calendar either creates or has the opportunity to create. Appointments create conversations, conversations create opportunity. So this is the bridge. This is going to create the ability to take that work that you've done with the contacts and the communication over to possible contracts. The two calendars that you need, well, there's actually really four calendars that you need, but there's only two types of calendars. There's a client calendar and a partner calendar. We'll call them 1A and 1B and 2A and 2B. What does that mean? You don't need 20 calendars for everything that you do. And the more calendars you have, the more confusing it becomes for yourself and the other side. What you want is two types of calendars for both the client and the partner. You want a call calendar and an online meeting calendar for clients. You want a call calendar and an online meeting calendar for partners. That's it. Everything else that you do can be streamlined down into one of those calendars. Client calendar, discovery calls, strategy sessions, savings reports, mortgage protection reviews, financial education meetings, application appointments, policy delivery, annual reviews. These are things that create outcomes and also help retain the outcomes. Having somebody sign up for some type of a service or a contract with you, it doesn't end there. Same thing with your partner side. It doesn't end at the recruiting. Your clients need to be followed up with. They need reviews. Those reviews will get you retention higher. Also will get higher reviews, referrals, user-generated content to help you grow your business. On the partner side, partner calendars like Q&A calls, business opportunity, training presentations, interview, onboarding sessions, leadership development meetings, agent coaching. You can see how you have two sides to your business, partner and client. Both demand a calendar. And if you really want to set this up correctly, online call for clients, online call for partners. Build both. You want to serve your clients. You want to build leaders. Remember, more opportunities equal more growth and more impact. How do you get to that? You create more appointments for yourself. The purpose of, let me let this person in. The purpose of discovery call. Discovery call creates direction. So remember, when you're in a discovery call, the purpose is to understand their goals, understand their challenges, identify their needs, determine their fit, build their trust, and then schedule the next step. Notice that I didn't say anything about you. Discovery call is not about you at all. If you need to build a little trust, rapport, credibility, but probably that's been built on the front side of the communication because they've raised their hand and they want to actually talk to you. So discovery creates direction. Contact interest, conversation creates curiosity, discovery call creates the direction of where we're going. That creates appointments and opportunities for yourself and for your other agents if you teach them this system. Now, the purpose of an online meeting goes a little bit further. You're not just on the phone, you're actually interacting with them, your camera's on, you're seeing them, they're seeing you. The online meeting is where education happens, recommendations happen, and solutions happen. So the call kind of helps set up the online meeting. The purpose of an online meeting is not to pressure anybody, especially in our business. If you pressure somebody into signing a contract, the probability that contract is going to last a long period of time is almost zero. The purpose of an online meeting is clarity. People make better decisions when they understand their options. So understand your options. That means they can make informed decisions. What are those informed decisions? Those are buying decisions. That's going to help you achieve better outcomes. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates actions for your clients. Remember, people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. When they make those buying decisions, they feel confident, and that creates a lot of positive ripple effect. The Q&A call. Remember, if you're on the partner side and you're setting up maybe a business opportunity presentation, that might lead in with the Q&A call. Q&A call allows you to sort people out. Is it worth me scheduling an online meeting with this person, or can I qualify or disqualify them on a Q&A call? Answer questions, reduce confusion, provide clarity, explore the fit, determine the next step. Sometimes the next step is just to part ways. And if you spent 7-8 minutes on a phone call versus 30 minutes on an online meeting, you can protect your time. You're doing a disservice to yourself and the other party if you disqualify somebody and you continue the conversation. You want to remove the uncertainty and you want to get the right parties moving forward. Training presentations. This is an overlooked appointment types. So when you have new agents coming in, you want to get them on training presentations. You want to get them in the habit of seeing things on their calendar, having somebody else do the work for them in the beginning, but seeing that you do the same thing over and over and over again builds confidence in their ability to take over that role. So you're building confidence, you're creating exposure. Even though they're training presentations, you're introducing, and the more that you introduce the information and the education of other people, the more opportunity the other parties have to say, yeah, let me raise my hand and say, yeah, I'm actually interested in this, that, or whatever it is that you guys are talking about. You're practicing your communication and you're helping your agents get into a revolution of understanding what our business is all about. No matter where the communication comes from, it's basically just streamlining into a couple of different calendar appointments. Once they understand that, and once they see that you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, it creates the ability for them to become eventually independent and then pay it forward. When we're looking at the flow, the appointment flow, just like we have the 4 C's for, lead to revenue, we also have the opportunity flow. And so you have the contacts, the communication, that's going to lead to the right parties, right, raising their hand. They're going to schedule the appointment. That's half the battle. The other part of the battle is making sure the appointment's being held, right? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But recommendation, decision, and that creates the contracts, clients, partners, maybe referrals. Every stage matters. Every appointment counts. Maybe your 200th time doing a presentation, it's the first time that party's seeing it. So make sure that when you are doing your job to create the appointments, you come in, ready, energetic, ready to have a good conversation with somebody. And then the calendar mindset. Your calendar is going to reflect your priorities. So if it's all white, well, your priorities are, that you're not really into this business. If the calendar is empty, your pipeline is going to be empty. That's pretty easy to figure out. If one's empty, the other is going to be empty because one's the top, one's the bottom. If your calendar is full, then opportunities are being created. Successful agents live by their calendar. You need to protect your calendar, you need to protect your time, and you need to protect your future. This is what you should be doing, especially if you don't have a lot of concrete appointments yet. And this is what you need to teach your agents. You want them going out and scheduling, prospecting time. If the first C is where we need to really concentrate our time, which is contacts, your calendar should reflect going out prospecting, trying to get people into the CRM so we can move on to the second C. Also, follow-up time, appointments time, training time, leadership time, admin time. What gets scheduled gets done. What doesn't get scheduled might get done, might not. So learn to live by your calendar. Learn to fill it up with the important stuff that you need to get done. Leaving a little bit of time for the stuff on the bookends, like training, admin time. But during the meat of the day, make sure you're getting as much done as possible. That's going to move the needle towards revenue growth and everything you're looking for. So when you are doing appointment setting, the best practices is remember the appointment setting is not going into a long diatribe about your products, your services, who you are. It's just, basically to get the appointment set. So keep it simple. Use clear, easy language. You're not explaining. Less is more. Keep it concise at this point. Your main job is to create curiosity and create commitment. So spark their interest, make them want more, focus on the value of what they're going to get during that call or the meeting. Offer some options. Some people like to be on a call. Some people like to be on an online meeting. You can give them the choice. That might help your show rates. Confirm the appointment. Get the commitment before you in that particular communication. Send reminders. Make the attendance easy. Make sure that you don't have a lot of barriers to entry. And the objective is movement, not persuasion, progress, not pressure. It's just to get them moving down the cycle of the 4 C's. Set appointments, create opportunities, change lives for yourselves, your agents, your clients. This is a win-win-win for everybody involved. When we look at no-shows and reschedules, it's going to happen. So what is the worst thing that can happen to you on a calendar appointment? It's a no-show. Why? Because you're getting ready for the appointment. You set up, you open it up, whether it's an online meeting or a call, you're getting mentally prepared for that meeting. They don't show up and you're waiting 5-10 minutes. You want to decrease the number of no-shows. You're going to do that by increasing the number of shows, increasing the number of reschedules, and increasing the number of cancels. Cancels and reschedules are way better than a no-show. So you want to stay in front of people, give them the opportunity to cancel or reschedule. And like I said, that will create a system where the no-shows are decreased and reschedules and cancels are increased, but also the show rate increases. Follow up immediately after missed appointments. Reach out with value, not frustration. If somebody didn't make the meeting, they might have a good reason, they might not, but they were interested in what you're talking about. That doesn't mean schedule 6 meetings with somebody, they no show you every time. You have to guard your time. You have to set up expectations. Remember, systems improve show rates. So consistent process, higher show rates, more opportunities. More opportunities means more income. Your KPIs, your key performance indicators on your calendars. This is what you guys should be tracking all the time. Appointments scheduled, appointments held, no shows, reschedules, cancels, show rate. This is going to allow you to understand what's happening. If you're connecting on the calendar as a bridge, then you want to make sure there's enough people on that bridge that have committed to crossing that bridge. They're actually showing up. Discovery calls, online meetings, Q&A, application, partner interviews. You can see the KPI scorecard over here. You want to make sure you understand what's happening in your business so you can learn from your weaknesses, your strengths, and get better by, understanding, because the calendar is going to tell the truth. The calendar audit. So when you look at your calendar audit, what you want to understand is, what did I do? How many appointments did I schedule? How many actually did I hold? What was my show rate? What appointment type create the best outcomes? That's something you can learn a lot from. How much time is blocked from prospecting? How much time is blocked for follow-up? Where am I losing opportunities? If you don't know these numbers, start tracking them now, because if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. If you know your numbers, it's a lot easier to understand your business and throw fuel on the fire to grow your business, because making data-driven decisions is a lot easier than just making a decision with a hope and a pray mentality. That's never going to work. You have to make data-driven decisions. That starts with understanding tracking, measurement, and reflection of that with some accountability. When you look at the breakdown, why most agents get stuck. When production slows, they don't look at their contracts first. They look at the calendar. This is what you need to be doing. So most don't, but this is where you need to concentrate. Are your appointments low? Well, then yes, then look at your communication. Is your communication low? Well, then you need to look at your contacts. All of these 4 C's are designed to help you guys and help your new agents build a business and not have some elaborate or hard to understand system. It's 4 C's. Within those C's, there's going to be good things, bad things happening. If you fix the bad things, then mostly good things will be happening throughout the life of that. And that gives you a full system, a very simple system from leads to revenue. So contacts, communication, calendar, and contracts, the 4 C's, they build on each other. Every business problem can be usually traced back through the 4 C's. So what we're going to be doing, and this is in closing, contacts create the ability to communicate with somebody. Communication creates the ability to create calendar appointments. Calendar appointments create opportunities. Opportunities create contracts, and contracts create income, growth, and equity. This is the system. Master the calendar, and you create more appointments and more opportunities than most agents may ever see, because their calendar is where interest becomes commitment. We're going to continue this with the next session. We're going to end up with the contracts. Remember, contracts is where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. This is where money, revenue, growth, income, equity, all these things start to happen. This is where clients and partners make decisions. Why contracts are the result of a great process. Remember, you don't get to the end result unless you've got a good process that leads you to the end result. And how successful agents focus on activities that create contracts rather than chasing contracts themselves. You focus on the process, the contracts will follow. Build trust, solve problems, create value. And the result of that is people are going to buy into you, buy into what you're selling them, and buy into your ability to help them solve their problems or get to goals they want to accomplish.